Stefania Bell. Stefania, I just want to begin with, how confident are you in taking Rob Gronkowski as the first tight end off the board this season?
Well, I will tell you this. Talent-wise, he's the first tight end. But the risk is to his third back surgery, add a lung contusion, an ACL reconstruction, a forearm fracture in his past. He's missed 24 games in the last 5 years. Tremendous talent, but the risk is high.
I'll tell you, no doubt the injury concerns are certainly worth our attention, but here's the incentives that Gronkowski is looking at from a reality perspective. If he can hit 90% of his snaps, or 80 catches, 1,200 yards, or an all-pro season, he can go from $5.25 million to $10.75 million. Gronk likes money, right?
Who doesn't?
Gronk's going to get there.
All right, then Chargers wide receiver Keenan Allen coming off an ACL injury. Do you guys expect him to produce at wide receiver?
I expect him to be a wide receiver one right away. I mean, the advantage, if you want to call it that, if you tear your ACL in week 1, is that you have extra time to rehab. So he will be 9 months out by the time the season starts. We've seen video of him looking sharp in his rehab work. He should essentially be unrestricted and just ramping up his football activity when training camp opens. But Keenan Allen has had some challenges staying on the field. Played only 8 games in 2015 and only 1 game last year before he missed time.
And a history of injury in college. So if you're looking at him absent his ability, you'd say this is a risk. Having said that, he is their best wide receiver and might well be among the top 5 in the league if he's healthy and can stay on the field. So that's a dilemma for a fantasy person. I don't know anything about fantasy, but
you doing reality?
You're looking at
He just does the facts. That's all you need.
Just the facts, man.
What you need
Joe
to know.
Friday, just the facts.
All right, then we got a bunch of quarterbacks coming off shoulder injuries. Panthers Cam Newton here. Is his injury coming off that concerning to you? Would you take him?
I think he's going to be season ready when the season gets here. He had the repair to the partially torn rotator cuff. He's already been throwing with head athletic trainer and physical therapist Ryan Vermillion. He'll throw with teammates when camp opens. But from a fantasy perspective, the Panthers have been very clear that they're going to limit his designed runs. They want to protect him more because they want him to stay healthier. And in fantasy, part of his value was tied to being able to make plays with his legs in addition to plays with his arms. So his fantasy value takes a hit.
There are no old running quarterbacks in the National Football League.
So
they either stop running or they get driven out of the game because of injury. Cam's at that crossroads right now. The injuries are starting to mount up. Shoulders are problems for quarterbacks. He's not going to run as much. The offense is going to change pretty dramatically.
All right, when we talk shoulder, we talk Andrew Luck. Still a top 5 fantasy quarterback for you, Stefania?
Absolutely. I mean, the talent is incredible. Yes, he had surgery to repair a torn labrum in January. Yes, people are chatting about being nervous because they haven't seen him throw, but I trust the plan that the Colts have. There's no reason to have him throwing for us early. So I expect that they have a plan in place. He'll be ready to go when the season starts. Look what he did when he was hurt. Threw for over 4,000 yards.
From an on-field strategy, though, I know that the Colts really want him to cut down the interceptions. They've made clear that they want to see him in single digits this year. I wonder how much that sort of mindset keeps him from maybe airing it out as much as he has to get those big numbers. Maybe it's more about accuracy and efficiency this year. Again, I don't know what that means for fantasy, but...
Well, if you eliminate the turnovers, that's great for fantasy.
There you go. Andrew Luck all the way.
All right, we hit big injuries. We hit quarterbacks. Let's talk some running backs. Lev'eon Bell, David Johnson at the top of most analyst boards. Who are you taking number 1, Stefania?
Most people might not remember that both Lev'eon Bell and David Johnson ended their season with injuries. Now, they weren't major. David Johnson had MCL, plenty of time to recover. And Lev'eon Bell had a groin injury, core muscle repair in the offseason, also plenty of time to recover. But David Johnson gets the edge for me. Lev'eon Bell has a bit more of an injury history. That always concerns me. And Bruce Arians has said he wants David Johnson to touch the ball at least 30 times a game. If you're playing fantasy football, opportunity is your best friend. And David Johnson is going to have plenty of opportunity.
That's why I'm glad you're here, because you're reminding us of last season, because I don't eat enough spinach or something, because I forget everything. That said, Bill, so you're listening to Stefania talk about all of that. Just from a numbers standpoint, who do you think could be more productive this season, Lev'eon Bell or Johnson?
I think Lev'eon, because the Pittsburgh offense has to go through him. They are not the same team when he's not getting touches. And last year you saw him get big-time touches in the passing game. he's a mismatch in the passing game. And so if passing counts, and I gather it does, he's a good bet to do pretty well because they're going to try and get him the ball as much as they can because he creates mismatches in the run game and he creates mismatches in the passing game.
And the fact that they have Antonio Brown does help, spread things out a little bit for him. But I completely agree about the receiving aspect of his game. Part of the reason why Bell thinks that he deserves more money, by the way.
I will say David Johnson can catch some passes, and his yards after contact are fantastic.
What about the fact that he misses a lot of games, though?
It worries you.
That's got to be.
No,
a
it worries
factor.
you about
It could
later.
work for me. Those are good reports, by the way. Nice. I like that.
Might go by